right, so can't wait to show you what we're creating tonight. We're making a little treat with the Gone Fishing bundle. All right, so I'm gonna switch on over to my hands. I'm gonna zoom in so that you can get a closer look. All right. All right, and here we go. So tonight we're going to make this little treat holder. We're just making one of them, but they're both made the very same way. All right, and so this one I have put Swedish fish inside. I'm going to tell you all about the little bag and where you can get those as well. Okay, I'll provide a link after tonight's broadcast. But this one I used this particular Let's Go Fishing designer paper. And I've got some little doodads here. And then I covered up the little clothespin with, oh, I'm so glad you like them. Thank you. And so anyway, I've covered up that clothespin with these little fishing lures and stuff, okay? All right, Mary Kay, I see your comment. Move back to Richmond. And then I'll have lots of secretaries, right? All right, so this is one. This has the Swedish fish. And I thought we would make this one. This has the sour neon gummy worms, all right? And you can see here, they're so easy to make. And I'm so glad that you all like this. I've already taken some pictures, so I'll be able to post those tomorrow as well, okay? Now, you might remember this treat pouch because we did a sweet citrus unit where we spent some time with the sweet citrus for a couple of weeks. And this is the very same treat pouch, all right? Same treat pouch, but now it's a little fishing treat pouch, okay? So easy to make. The best part, you're going to get 2 of these out of 1 sheet of cardstock. That is the best part, okay? Okay, clothespins, the Dollar Tree, okay? They had 2 different size clothespins. And of course, we're going to get into all of this later, but while it's here, this is about 2 inches long, almost 2 inches long, okay? All right. Okay. I know. I love 3D. Love 3D. Oh, thanks, Karen. Thank you so much. Yeah, Michael's will have them too, and you can probably get them on Amazon. Okay. All right. Eli, I'm not sure what's happening with BeCreativeStamping.com. I just went to my blog address and everything was up and running. So I'm not sure what's going on with that, okay? All right, well, let's get started. And after we create this tree pouch, then we're gonna move on to the Crafting With You bundle, all right? Okay, so we're going to need our paper trimmer and a standard sheet of cardstock. This cardstock is boho blue, okay? Now, I'm going to turn my cardstock along the 11-inch side to do some scoring, okay? And I'm gonna open the arm. And let's see, I am actually going to open this up because I want to check my measurements. And I think it's 5 and 6, but we're about to find out. Okay, so it's gonna be 5.5 and it's gonna be 6.5. Okay, easy enough. All right, here we go. All right, so our first score line is 1 inch, okay? And make sure you get your cutting tool out of the way. Earlier today, I cut my paper instead of scoring it. All right, so that's 1 inch. And then we're gonna scoot over to 5.5 inches. And then we're gonna pull the boho blue over to 6.5 inches. So that's why I needed to open the arm of my paper trimmer. Okay, so you have 3 score lines. 1 inch, 5.5 inches, 6.5 inches. Now we're going to rotate the cardstock to the 8.5 inch side, and we're going to cut it at 4.25 inches. And this time I can use my blade, which is right here, the darker one. Okay, so guess what? I have 2 treat holders just like that. Okay, isn't that awesome that you get 2 out of 1 sheet of cardstock? That's the best part. All right, now we're going to add some designer paper before we cut a hole in it, okay? And Leslie Claire, mine may score deeper. I press pretty hard, but I also know that we're now carrying the scoring blades in our online store. Okay, so check that out. You should be able to get it if you want a new scoring blade, okay? All right, so I'm gonna fold my score lines. This is the flap that becomes the very top of it. And that's a score line, and that's a score line. Okay, so do you see this panel right here? This is where I want to put my designer paper, so that when I open it up like this, okay, I've got that little flap going over. Does that make sense? Now I'm going to give you the measurements for this piece of designer paper, okay? And this is from the Let's Go Fishing designer paper pack. Okay, we've got 4 inches going across and 4.25 inches on the other side. So it's 4 inches by 4.25 inches, okay? Oh, good. Well, I'm glad you saw that the scoring blades are now available and that you can order them. And so I want to center this designer paper right on this panel. Okay, just like that. Now there is still one other piece of designer paper, and this is actually going to go on the flap. All right, so let's just go ahead and get that put there as well. Oh, and I do need to measure it for you. I am pretty positive it is 4 inches going across by 3/4 inches. 3/4 inches. Okay. And that just goes on this little flap. And you're just going to center it. Okay? Just like that. Now, we are going to need to cut a hole. And let me show you the dies that I'm going to use. I'm using the Stylish Shapes dies. And I'm using this one, okay? So it's the second from the largest, all right? And I'm gonna wanna put that circle about right here, all right? If I put the circle up here, it's gonna interfere with the flap. If I put it too low, it's going to interfere with the bottom. And so you want it positioned about right here. So you're coming up just a little bit from that designer paper, okay? All right, we're going to get our handy machine out. And I am gonna have to zoom on out here so that we can get this circle cut. You definitely want to add your designer paper before you cut, okay? That's a definite. I have 3 cutting plates over here. I think I just need 2. I'm gonna use the machine from this side just because I can also cut it from the other side. And I'm going to eye this. I'm not gonna measure. I'm just going to kind of eye where I think the circle should go. And I'm going to hold that in place. And then we're going to roll this through so that we can get a hole in the front of the treat pouch. All right, let me set this aside. Okay. All right, so now I'm back, and this is going to come out, and then you are going to have 2 stitched circles. You'll have one in boho blue, and then you'll have the one that is designer paper, okay? All right, so those are just extras. And then let me put the die away. Now, the next thing we're going to do is to actually add our treats, okay? Now, I picked up the sour neon gummy worms, and I found these at Home Goods. But while you're in the Dollar Tree picking up clothespins, look there for your gummy worms, and you can also look there for your Swedish fish. So I thought both of these went really well with the Gone Fishing bundle. Okay, now I'm going to be using this little bag, and I'm going to show you the package. Now this, I will have to give you the link for it, okay? I did purchase them off Amazon. This is the brand. I don't know if this number would even be helpful to you, but I will leave a link after the broadcast tonight. And if I forget to do it, please just send me a reminder and I will do that. Okay? All right. By the way, I love these. Cookies fit perfectly in here, as well as candy. And so I have found them to be very versatile, okay? All right, so I'm gonna dump a few gummy worms in here. All right, they really smell good. I'm just gonna tell you, they smell really, really good. All right. And then I am going to seal it up. And I also like that little self seal on there. All right, so now we're ready to add this inside. Now this is what I have found. The clothespin actually will hold the bag in place, but you can also attach it with glue dots if you would like, okay? But as you can see, I'm tucking that bag under that. That's gonna hold it in place. And now I'm going to add the clothespin. And now everything is all together. All right, so super easy just to get that to hold together. All right, so now we're ready to do some embellishing. And let's start with our pieces at the top, all right? So I'll give you a closer look there. I'm gonna try and zoom in some more so that you can see all the different little pieces that have been used. I've already taken the time to stamp and cut them out. At this point, I know all of you know how to do that because you have been watching every week, and this is our 3rd week for Gone Fishing. Wouldn't this be great for your for grandkids and for children and just all that good stuff? Okay, I'm gonna take a little bit of glue, and I haven't used this glue in a week, okay? Here we go, it's working now. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add this lure about right there, okay? And I'm using the Tombow liquid glue to do that. Then I'm going to take this fishing lure. I'm being careful with my words. I'm adding a glue dot right there, okay? Hello, Louise, welcome. And then I'm gonna add this to it. All right, just like that. And then at this point, I think I'm adding some more glue, just a little bit. Guess what? I just heard thunder. So if for some reason I lose my internet connection, I may or may not be able to come back on. I usually don't have an issue with that, but just in case, we all know. All right? And so basically that's all I did, was to add those little items to the hook, okay? All right, let's do a little bit of stamping. Let's just set, we're gonna stamp congrats, and we're gonna stamp good things come to those who wait. Gail, I am still learning about fishing and I'm having a fun time doing it. You can use these treat holders for anything and everything. Fall treats, Valentine treats, all kinds of things. All right, so I've got a little piece of very vanilla cardstock. It was just a scrap piece. And then I've got this. Anybody want to take a guess where this piece came from? Let me see if you remember from last week. So easy to make. All right, Misty Moonlight for the word congrats. Okay, and okay, so I really cannot see this. I'm gonna try. Yay, I did it. I did it, and I couldn't even see what I was doing. All right, so that's congrats. My husband does not fish, Kathleen. He does not fish. So I'm kind of at a loss with all my little terms, okay? Louise is correct. This is the negative piece from the big die. Carolyn is correct. It came from the tackle box. Absolutely. You know what? You girls have been listening. I am very proud of you. All right, this time we're gonna ink up Gone Good Things Come to Those Who Wait, and I'm gonna stamp it in boho blue, all right? Gosh, you girls are on it tonight. Everybody is getting it right. So proud of you, all of you. All right, let's get that out of the way. And then we are gonna come back here. We're gonna add some dimensionals because it wouldn't be a stamping night if I didn't add dimensionals, right? All right. Okay. So one of these dimensionals is going to be sticking to this bag, which is kind of a good thing because it also will hold the bag in place, okay? And don't forget to pick up your gummy worms and your Swedish fish. All right. And now I'm going to bring out my minis because I need those for the word congrats. And then I can put that back. And this is going to go across right here. Okay, just like that. And I've got one more piece, and it's the bobber. And for this, I'm actually going to just add a little bit of liquid glue, just a tiny little bit. I'm going to tuck the bobber in about right there. Okay, there we go. All right, so the little bobber will go there. What do you think? I will go ahead and bring in the other one. I will also have pictures for you tomorrow along with the tutorial sheet with supplies and measurements. Okay, hi Lynn, welcome. Thank you, Corinne. Thank you, everyone. So easy and really fun to do. All right. Now, what I'll do is I'll give away one of these tonight, but I won't include the gummy worms because I've had my hands on them, my fingers, in case I had to pick one up or something, okay? So I don't want to send the candy, but I will send you the treat holder, okay? I'm so glad y'all like it. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Okay, well, we're ready to move on. Hang on 1 second. Okay, I had to stop for just a few minutes and turn the air conditioning down. I got really, really hot. Does that happen to y'all? It was a must, so I had to get up and go and do that. Okay, how fun. All right, so you ready for our next card? We're going to be moving on to the Crafting With You bundle. So excited about this bundle. I absolutely love it. It is so fun to play with. I love that we have our little Stampin' Cut Emboss machine. We have scissors and a paper trimmer and words and a ruler. Just super, super fun. Fun, fun, fun. Okay. And I've got some more to show you. Anyone recognize this paper? Nancy, you can relate to me, right? Turning on the AC, I had to crank it down. Anyone recognize the designer paper yet? This is Berry Burst. This is Pecan Pie. This is Pretty Peacock. And this one is Lemon Lime Twist. Yay! Oh, good. I'm so glad, Leslie Claire. Hi, Barb. Yay, Barb just ordered the stamp set. Good. Now, the paper is a 6x6 paper pack. It's called Glorious Gingham. And you get Blueberry Bushel, Berry Burst, Pecan Pie, Lemon Lime Twist, and Pretty Peacock. All right. And so we're going to be creating one of these cards tonight. I'm going to start with the stamp set, just in case you haven't seen this stamp set. It has our cutting machine, an easel, flowers that you can stamp on the easel, a little heart, a little flower, paint brushes, a sewing machine, yarn, a basket for the yarn, and 1, 2, 3, 4 greetings to go with all the different crafts right there. Isn't that fun? It is a bundle, and I don't have my catalog over here, but I bet one of you have a catalog in your hands right now, and you can tell us which page, okay? Oh, well, just wait. Let me zoom in now so y'all can get a good look at one of the cards. Let me do Berry Burst this time. This one's Berry Burst, all right? And I'm going to show you all the pieces and parts, okay, and how we're going to put it together. All right. Well, as many of you know, I absolutely love to cut lots of pieces before I assemble cards. And that's exactly what I have done here. And you'll notice I have rulers here. So let me zoom in on this. I have rulers in all of the colors. This, of course, is silver foil. It's page 91, everyone. All right. And here are some other ones. Berry Burst, Blueberry Bushel, Lemon Lime Twist. These are rulers. What I love about the ruler is you get the little lines. Super cute. Then we have scissors that you put together. And buttons, we have square buttons and round buttons. And right here, this is actually a spool. That would be the spool. And then you would take the thread and lay that on top, okay? Thanks, Leslie Claire. It is a bundle. And then you would have a spool of thread. All right, so I did separate those. There is also an embroidery hoop, which you're going to see in action tonight because we are going to use that, okay? So this is just a great way. Here's some hearts that I had cut out. That's one of the dies. It's a great way to organize your pieces and cut a bunch before you actually start putting your cards together, okay? All right, well, let's do just that. Let's get a card put together here, okay? Now, I am going to start with this sheet of basic white cardstock. It is a scrap piece of paper, and I am going to be using Smoky Slate for the machine. I did try Pebbled Path for our machine, and it was too dark, okay? And so I'm going to use Smoky Slate here. All right, and we get a beautiful image. Isn't this beautiful? Beautiful image. All right. And I'm going to need an embroidery hoop. By the way, you can even cut out the easel. This is the embroidery hoop right here. You're going to see what that does in just a second. And this is for our machine. And that goes right there for cutting out. So those are the only two pieces that we have to cut out tonight because I've already taken time to do the others. But I'll be pointing out all the other things that will need cutting out, okay? So yeah, it's got some super, super cool pieces in this set. And somebody's going home with this card tonight, all right? All right, so let me zoom out all the way. I know, it's super cute. If you don't have this set and you sew and stamp, oh my gosh, this is the perfect stamp set for you. Okay, now I'm gonna need my Post-it tape, so let me get that. All right. Here we are. Had to walk across the room for that. All right, let's see here. That should do it. And with the embroidery hoop, it's going to cut out two pieces. It's going to cut out the actual hoop, and then it's going to cut out the stitched circle, okay? All right, so I'm gonna put that right there. That can just go anywhere, does not matter. And then I'm going to add our cutting plate number 3 so that we can cut this out. And we'll put that right there. And we'll zoom in. And this is where you're going to find your stitched circle. And the actual embroidery hoop is now in this piece. So we're going to pop it out just by poking little holes where you see the hole here. Okay, so where you see that hole is where you poke through and release the paper. And that's the hoop. And what can I put this on that I don't really have anything dark in color, so, but that's what the hoop looks like, okay? All right, and you can save that for another time. And then we have this piece, and that's our little machine. And hopefully next week I'll have these pieces cut out for you so that you can see them all. I just have not gotten to that yet. All right. Okay. And let's see, one more thing. We're going to need some pretty peacock ink because we are going to stamp the greeting, and we're going to be using Sending You a Handmade Hug. And we're going to put that right in the middle. Right there, okay? And there's one other piece that I want to stamp. Let's see, I don't know if I have put it away. I haven't put it away yet. I have a greeting for the inside. Here it is. I do have it. All right, and for the inside, we're gonna put life is better when you're crafting. Let's move that out of the way. This is a standard basic white card base, okay? Nothing fancy there. Let me get my glasses back on. We're gonna open this up and we're going to ink this in Pretty Peacock as well, okay? And then we are going to stamp it. All right, so that's our stamping for the inside. And now we get to work on the outside. And it's really fun to put all of this together. Okay, so you're going to want a Pretty Peacock card layer. And this one is going to measure 4 inches. That's 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, okay? And your next piece is your designer paper. It looks like it has a large gingham print on this side, and if you flip it over, it has a gingham check on the back. This is going to measure 3 1/2 inches. 3 1/2 inches by 5 inches. 3 1/2 by 5 inches. All right. I am not using a Leslie Claire's asking me if I used a pre-cut card base. No, I didn't. We made this card in Hostess Club, so I had cut all my card bases and scored them myself. So I did it, but it wasn't part of a kit, okay? All right, so let's add this designer paper. And we're actually going to add it over to one side, still giving us a 1/4 inch allowance here. All right, so that's what you want it to look like when it's done. And this will get adhered to the white card base using Stampin' Seal. And this will just get centered onto the card base just like this. So this is an easy layout. I have used this layout many times, okay? So it's an easy layout to use. Oh, I'm reading Carol's comment. She says, you mentioned things you were making for an upcoming wedding or shower and that you would show us. Ooh, Carol, you haven't missed it. So I will make a note on Tuesday night. I made some like tags and stuff and some treat holders. So I'll show you next Tuesday night, okay? I promise not to forget because the shower stuff is in my stamp room because that's what I've been working on, okay? So yeah, I'll remember to do that. Okay, our next piece is Evening Evergreen cardstock. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but it is stitched. And this is from the Nested Essentials dies. Now, does everybody know what that looks like? Because I have been using them a lot lately. If you don't, maybe someone can look it up in their catalog, and I can also grab mine, okay? All right, so this piece right here, actually I am gonna grab mine because I wanna show you which size I use. So let me grab those real quick. Okay, so these are the Nested Essentials right here. I am loving these, and I think did I use this one? No, I used the largest one, okay? So it's this one right here that I used to cut this out, okay? These are amazing. They're called Nested Essentials. So, as I'm starting to get ready for the retreat, and I can already tell you I need a second set of these dies because we're going to be using them a lot. All right, here we go. I think we're ready for our little paper trimmer. All right, so this is the paper trimmer, okay, right here. All right, and we're going to use a little piece of gingham cardstock, and let me measure this for you. It is 2 3/8 of an inch by 1 inch. Nancy, my magnet cards are 6 by 7 inches, 6 inches by 7 inches. That's a great question. If you need the link for ordering, I can send you that, okay? All right. So Becky has this set, but she hasn't used it. So Becky, now you have a great excuse to use it, right? Because we just pulled it out. All right, so that's how you slide in your paper. It just goes behind there, okay? Now, one thing I like to do is I like to put like a little glue dot underneath the gingham paper. So I'm gonna do that. And I just do that so that it will hold it in place. All right. So that just kind of holds that piece of paper in place. All right. Okay. So this is actually just going to get taped on here. And so we just need seal for that. You could also use your multi-purpose glue if you wanted. Again, I'm adding some seal over this, so that's going to help hold that paper in place as well. Hey, Diane. All right, so there we are. We are going to put it about right here. You want to be sure that this gingham paper stays on the card base, all right? Make sure this stays on the card base. You don't want that gingham to go outside the card base because then you can't fit it in your envelope, all right? So, yes, Kathleen. Kathleen is talking about these shaped dies. It does look like a coffin, absolutely. I think that's hilarious. All right, so we're gonna take our Stampin' Cut emboss machine and we are going to put dimensionals on it because we have to use dimensionals, right? Every week. I'm gonna do something else, Corinne, but I'll show everyone what that is, okay? I'm glad you mentioned that little cutter piece. All right, for this, I'm going to put about right here, and I'm pretty much covering up this paper here. So the machine will cover up that little gingham piece of paper. Now, Corinne brought up a very good point. There is a little knob for the paper cutter. All right, I want to show you where it is. This is your paper cutter when you cut it out, okay? This up here is the little blade to go on your trimmer, all right? But we're gonna use an embellishment tonight instead. But I just want you to know that when you cut out your trimmer, and I cut mine out in smoky slate, by the way, smoky slate. When you cut that out, it also cuts out a little blade for you that you can add to the cutter. All right. All right, let me grab some water real quick. Okay, what's next? A ruler. Let's go on and get the ruler on. Actually, you know what I'm going to do next? I'm going to do scissors because they do need a few minutes to dry, okay? All right. Okay, so when you cut out your scissors, this is the die for the scissors, all right? So no matter how you cut them out, you're going to have to assemble them, all right? So I wanted you to know that. And what we're going to do is we're going to give our scissors some shiny blades. And so I have actually cut 2 pairs of scissors. I've cut 1 pair in silver foil, and I've cut 1 pair in pretty peacock, okay? All right. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to cut the pretty peacock scissors. And hang on one second because I don't know if you can see this. There is, that does not help. What do I have? Let's put this, this might work. I don't know if it will. I'm trying to give you, nah, doesn't work at all. Okay, on the scissors, there is a little line. Okay, it's an indentation. It's a little score line. I want you to cut where that score line is, and you're going to cut those blades off. So all you have left is a handle. Now you're going to do the same here, and you're going to cut the line here. Okay, there was another score line, by the way. There was another score line. Hopefully you can see that. Sometimes I don't even think it matters how much lighting you have in a room. Okay, so we're gonna do a little gluey now. Remember, we wanted silver blades, okay? And so I'm actually going to add just a little bit of Tombow liquid glue to the handle. Then I'm going to take the same handle that has the hole, and this fits right on top. Okay? And I'll zoom in a little bit for you. Okay, we're gonna do it again. We're gonna add some glue to the handles, to one handle, excuse me. And then we're going to add this. Now, I could have had black handles just like these scissors with the silver blade, okay? But I was creating a monochromatic card, and so I wanted them to be the same color as everything else on the card, okay? I am going to put these to the side so that they can dry really, really well, okay? And we will get back to that in just a second. Okay, so now we're going to add a ruler. So let me see if my ruler will fall out of this package. All right. Now, a few tidbits about the ruler, okay? The ruler is actually twice the length of this, but you're only gonna see half of that ruler, and so I'm only using half of it. Now, look at the lines, just like they are on a regular ruler. I think I could use a glue dot, or I could use the liquid glue. And I think I'm going to go with a glue dot. It can be less messy. And all I have to do here is I am going to leave it right under this cutting machine. See if I can get it where I want it. There we go. Okay, so that's just half of the ruler. It's actually twice the length. And then here are my words, and I'm going to pop them up. I've gotten super close, but that's probably a good thing because it can be really hard to see. All right, and now this is going to cover up just a little bit right there. It's covering up that ruler now, okay? And it comes up around the machine, okay? And now we're ready for the scissors. So let's bring them back over here, okay? And I am going to use a mini glue dot. And I wonder if it's too big. No, I think it'll work. Okay, and I'm gonna put that little mini right there. Actually, no, that's not what I wanna do. Hang on. Yes, I want to use a mini, but not right there, okay? All right, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna put some glue, and now I'm going to attach the two blades together. And so that will put it about right there. All right, and we do need to give that just a few minutes to dry. I had forgotten about that little part. And then we will add a dimensional under the scissors. So I'll zoom out a bit, and you can look at the card for a few minutes as well. I'll just tidy up a bit over here and let that dry. Anybody have questions? And I'll show you all the colors again, okay? All right. Okay, so let's, not enough glue yet. Not enough drying time, excuse me. Just needs a little more drying time. But again, my handles are an evening evergreen, but you could do them in black and it would look so good. But I was keeping with my monochromatic card. So while that's drying, I do need to get my embellishments. So I'm looking for my embellishments. What have I done with those? All right. Okay. Hopefully this will be ready now for us to attach. And this is where we're going to add the dimensional. And if you're creating this card, you might want to do your scissors first, and that will give them a longer time to dry, okay? And then we're going to add them about right there, all right? There we go. Thanks, Carol. Well, Girls, I was just using these embellishments this afternoon, and I don't know what I've done with them. But let me show you where the embellishments go. How about that? All right, one embellishment goes here. That's your larger one. I have a small one on top of the scissors and one here. All right, so that's Berry Burst. Then the Blueberry Bushel, I don't have embellishments there because I think I did this card in class and I ran out of time. And gosh, none of these cards have the embellishments, so I don't know what I was thinking. Here is Pretty Peacock and Lemon Lime Twist and Pecan Pie. All right, but I want to show you which ones I recommend. All right, they're right here in the catalog. They're really awesome. And again, I was using them for another project today, and I don't know where they are. Okay, right here, page 140, numbers 3 and 4. In number 3, you've got Tinsel Gems 3-pack and Tinsel Gems 4-pack, okay? And it's page 140. Let me look one other place. Okay, no, I don't see my embellishments. I'm not sure what I did with them, all right? How do you make the lime handle shiny? I have no idea. Let's look and see. How did I make them shiny? I don't know how I made them shiny. All right, I did the very same thing I've done with all the other scissors, okay? All right, yes, you could definitely use your silver paper and a small round punch, absolutely. All right, let's see. I'm laughing at Kathleen because I can identify with this. I've lost a stamp set without getting out of my chair. And that's the way I am feeling right now with my embellishments because I had them all afternoon. I'm like, where are they? Where have I put them? So let's see. All right, yes, the other thing is you do have that little piece when you go to cut out your trimmer, you get that little piece, okay, that you can put here for the knob, all right? But I love putting the little embellishment there for the cutting blade. I think it looks so cute when you do that, okay? No, nothing special. This is Lemon Lime Twist, ladies.